Yesterday, there were 2 teams with undefeated streaks that remained in the league. Now, there's only one. Oxygen Esports have the chance to go 5-0 to start an NAL stage for the first time in their history. It's never been done before. We were even looking through the databanks trying to find a time if that was ever a thing. The most OXG has ever done to start a stage was 4-0. That was with you on the team way back when, which kind of seems like the old days at this point.
I'm the GOAT.
But
if they win this, you're not.
If they win this, you might not be. And they have the Soniqs who are standing in their way. But I'm also curious. Like the Soniqs right now sit in 5th because of the way that the standings have all reorganized themselves. So it's not like they're not a bad team, but they're still figuring some things out. We need to kind of give them some grace on things like that. It'll be an interesting game.
Let's talk about the performances yesterday. Oxygen looked great, but then started to tank off, started to get a little silly.
Yep.
SQ, we're just silly. we just got silly off the rip and stayed silly.
Fair play.
And, you know, they started to get a couple of rounds in that second half.
I mean, literally a couple.
A couple, yes, but ultimately, you're right. I mean, Soniqs, a rough game yesterday. I do agree that while Soniqs have had, you know, some bad matches, maybe some matches where things didn't go the way they wanted, they've had a lot of losses, frankly. I don't think they're looking like a weak team. I think overall, you look at the fundamentals of Soniqs, despite yesterday, they're still looking strong. I think the biggest thing for me, was yesterday, they weren't really playing together on a lot of those pushes. And Nighthaven's a tough map to attack on. But I do think that overall, if we can avoid a map like Nighthaven, I still am comfortable that Soniqs will play a good game today.
Well, and I think an important thing to note is, especially with Super, Super's a strong 19-year-old. He's not going to pick a not strong roster, right?
Dude.
Soniqs still has to be a strong roster. Pretty sure Super even just turned 19 today.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Happy birthday, Seth. Congratulations on 19 for the
8th year in a row.
30th year in a row? I don't even know what we're on at this point. Let's talk Oxygen because they are the ones that have everything to lose with this matchup. Currently sitting at 4-0. That game against LG on Clubhouse, it seemed like it was over after just the first half. 5-1 attacking Clubhouse is damn impressive in this meta by itself. And even though LG tried to mount their own comeback, OXG just didn't let it slide to OT.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue there was Redeemer didn't call the timeout. Because back in the day, when they went up in that lead, when we were up like a 6-0, Redeem called a timeout, and we still ended up winning nonetheless. We ended up with 7-0, but he did call the timeout there, and that led to them getting overzealous, being a little too confident, even as Dream said, you know, got a little silly. He had to, I
thought that timeout from Redeemer corrected them to make sure they didn't literally the call was essentially stop trolling.
Well, no, he just randomly called a timeout for no apparent reason.
In the past.
Dream, in the past. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't do that this time.
There we go.
He needed to do that. Sorry, did I leave that out?
No, we're good.
Oh, that's on me. That's
we figured
on
it
me,
out,
gentlemen. But anyways, no, I mean, they're looking good. They just got a little overzealous, so I don't want to downplay that by any means. I think they just know what they need to do going into these games going future, because even Dream said they give everyone the same amount of respect.
In a defensive meta, the fact that OXG is the best attacking team in the league would have been super impressive, but I think it's even more impressive just given the way that both, the OXG in particular, have been playing this season out so far.
Certainly. I mean, I think for Oxygen, we've kind of always been saying, they've played really well, but they've yet to have, a real test against the top team. And now they're coming in against the Soniqs. Soniqs are a good-looking team, even if they've had their weak moments in the past. I think Oxygen will keep on to that highest level. I think Oxygen's play has been fundamentally strong enough that they should be able to continue to compete. And these guys, Newers and Gomez, are a big reason why. We saw them play yesterday so effectively. You can see their attacking stats from yesterday, 9-2 and 8-2 on the KD overall, flawless on the entry through 3 separate rounds. I really think these two have been the spearheads, as they always are for Oxygen. Particularly, I think Gomez has been really good on that buck, coming on in for that early round, finding those aggressive players. And then Newers yesterday was so good in the sight hit. Always in pushing blue, always in pushing in through Logi when he had to.
On Ace as well.
Yeah, I mean, he played a multitude of operators. He still loves his Ashe, obviously, but will play anything he needs to get the job done. So those two players have kind of been the spearheads for Oxygen, and to see them continue to pop off, I think it's a great sign.
The funny part is we keep on talking about these individuals from OXG doing so good that it's almost like we're waiting for them to lose a game or really make a huge mistake so we have something to talk about in the opposite direction. And Soniqs are the ones hoping to hand them their first loss of the stage. But they lost to Beast Coast on Labs yesterday. That one's embarrassing. 0-6 first half, losing to a team that didn't have a win yet. Last round literally falls apart when it looked like it could have gone differently. Yesterday was just a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, it's embarrassing because the team didn't have a win. It's embarrassing the way they lost it, right? 0-6 is not going to cut it regardless of the situation. But I also think we've learned since that Beast Coast is a good-looking team so far. They're actually really starting to grow into their own and play some really strong fundamental Siege. So I don't think it's that bad. And again, I do think the map played a big part of it.
Yeah.
Nighthaven is an extremely tough map to attack. Sonics are a new team. They've just rearranged their roster, even if it's the same core. So I do expect Sonics to bounce back today. I don't think yesterday's performance will carry on into today.
Well, it has to be a bounce back because even given the fact that it's been win-loss, win-loss, so today has to be a win. But even what I've noticed through watching a lot of these games is it kind of reminds me of what it was back in stage 1 of now what it's looking now. Well, the last stage is their mid to late round adaptations just aren't there. They aren't playing that unpredictable Siege that we know SQ to have, especially going to that Nighthaven yesterday. It literally looked like they were just completely stuck at the forefront of what Beast Coast was meeting them with and didn't know how to counter it. Whether Geo wasn't given a comm, Merc wasn't given a comm, they just didn't look like they had a plan.
We're obviously still regarding Sonics as a top-tier team at this stage. We're not sounding the alarm bells quite yet.
No.
We're giving some leeway to a team that has 2 new roster changes, and it's 2 wins so far and only 3 losses, so it's not the thing that you need to suddenly, like, oh, a hurricane's coming and we need to just throw everything out the window. But if you had to identify anything other than just that adaptation piece, is there anything else that stands out that Sonics could do better?
I think just working the map a little better. Like, because like when you think when Grixer was on the roster or Citizens was on the roster, they were around the map, converging onto site, finding these roamers, doing a late flank, doing anything like that to catch the team off guard, which goes into what I was saying, that unpredictable play styles.
Sure.
You aren't sure what a player is going to do, but that Nighthaven specifically in some of these maps throughout the past, they look very telegraphed whether they won some of those games or they lost. But specifically talking Nighthaven, it was very telegraphed of what they were doing, and they also didn't know how to find themselves out of a situation.
And we're kind of going back to basics here with Sonics on Chalet. I think I like this pick a lot.
Yeah.
Sonics historically have been known as like a great Chalet team. It's not bad for auction either, to be clear. But the Sonics have always loved this map. It's certainly one that's easier to attack than a map like Nighthaven Labs.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be pretty confident on that. I like this pick from SQ a lot.
I mean, I definitely like the pick as well. They also will have feed on OXG. Granted, you know, it's 2 members on the team. I doubt Oxygen's going to make a lot of changes, just like Sonic is going to make a lot of changes. I think this is going to come down to a situation is one of these teams is going to have to run away with that attack, so when it switches to that defense, that's where we're going to see the team excel. So one of these teams need to be starting out strong on the attack.
Obviously, slightly different roster, but Sonics are on a 4-game winning streak on Chalet through Tier 1, including SI and Stage 2 last year. So a bit of a streak to keep going, bit of pride to maintain.
And like I said, they're on a win-loss.
True.
Today has to be a win.
You'd hope so.
I mean, it's a trend. It's looking like the trend.
Yeah.
That's literally your job, is to analyze trends and figure out what is relevant and not relevant to talk about. So
I think I was at 43%.
Oh, who's that? Up
whoa.
for first?
Uh-oh.
Pardon me?
Uh-oh.
Pardon me?
Fox,
Who's
it's
up?
crumbling. It's crumbling.
I'm coming back. I don't even care about
Who's
you
caught up?
guys.
Is that me?
Fox,
Can't be.
if anybody on your co-stream is watching this right now, you better step up your game. And I know the reason you went with Auction is because you're still on the payroll, but I'm more curious about how the other guys on the couch are going to think about this game. Picking against Oxygen, do we like Sonics on Chalet enough to do it? What's the call? Lex?
Listen, my ego's there. They end here at a 4-1. They don't go to that 5-0. I'm going with SQ.
Wow. Streak ends here. Graphic is wrong. He's gone with Sonics, just to clarify. Jesse, are you following suit?
Listen, I've now caught up to Fox A. I have the opportunity perhaps to leapfrog Fox, who has had a really rough day on predictions, to be fair.
He really has.
But I don't really want to do Fox like that. I think the 2 of us can probably stay at the top together for a little bit. So I'm going to pick Oxygen as well and maintain my.
You have an opportunity, a prime chance to vault over him, and you pick the same as
I
him?
came into this week 2 games
You were
down
literally
on
telling me
Fox.
how much you want to beat Fox, and now you want to be on the same level.
This thing is on the line, and you're not taking what
That's
looks
a
like a
little
really good
weird.
chance to win. The belt is calling your name, and you said no.
I don't want to
You
do
don't
that
want
to
it. He
Fox.
doesn't
I
want
wanna-
it bad enough.
I want to see Fox here in person, and then we'll see how those prediction competitions go against each other.
All right. I guess that's it. Fox, you might be on your own on this one, at least not for now. Jess has got your back. You're tag teaming this one, but only if Oxygen pull out the victory. So we'll see if Sonics can play spoiler to OXG's undefeated streak. It's Links and Stokes with a call.
Oh, listen, game made an awfully compelling argument. Sonics start with a win, then lose.
I don't know what
win,
that
then
was.
lose. And I mean, they have to win. They have to win now, like, right? I mean, that convinced me. I think Sonics are good enough for the win just off Gabe's argument alone.
Yeah, no, I would most definitely agree. I think that this is going to be a really, really difficult situation for the Sonics, especially after they got battered and bruised on Night Haven yesterday up against BC. But it's going to be Chalet once again with the snow-capped mountains, and going to be Oxygen and the Sonics. I'm really excited for this one. This is the one I've been looking forward to all day, especially because Oxygen have looked so very stellar throughout this entire stage. Diaz and Gomez have got to go down as one of the best duos to kind of globetrot when it comes to Rainbow Six Siege. Every roster they plug into, Carter, they look so fantastic.
We had, what, XSET back in 2022. Obviously, M80 was, internationally speaking, not exactly the greatest of experiments in 2023 last year. But Diaz is putting up solid numbers, consistently usually the second highest rated player. Gomez improved dramatically from the start of 2023 to the beginning of 2024. And then right now, the top 5 players in the league are Newers and DS Lucas and Sam. Guess who's number 6?
Who is number 6?
It's Gomez. It's the other part. It's the other part of the DS Gomez duo. So OXG, very strong individual performances, and as the desk highlighted the game yesterday, Newers, he's back, boys. If you missed him in 2023, not only at international events, but with a overall lackluster domestic performance across stage 1 and 2, our boys hitting 4Ks left and right, and that's the game. That's the streak OXG are coming in on, and it's actually just occurred to me that Sonic's so threatened by it, they've banned Ash.
They did.
That derails everything I was going to say. I frankly don't care. Sam, they've banned Ash.
Oh, it's got to be over now. That's going to be the straw that breaks the record of Oxygen.
Newers?
It's going to be their first
0 and
loss
10.
off of
0 and
Osh,
10.
you know. Newers just can't get a kill. No, I highly doubt that happens. But no, I think it's a great ban because it's something that makes Newers feel very comfortable. And that just shows you how talented of a player he is, because time and time again throughout his entire career, when players come up against Newers, they'll just try and remove his favorite op as the offensive ban. It used to be Finka. We'll just ban the Finka out so Newers can't have it. Now it's Ash. We're just going to ban the Ash out so that Newers can't have it.
To be fair, when the Finka ban was prominent, there was a bit more of a meta reason as to why the Finka
But
needed to
he
be banned.
was the Finka.
Yes.
He was Finka, you know?
He absolutely, in the Finka LMG meta, he was like, him and Panba were like the LMG players in 2022, specifically in North America. So I do see your point. You'd want to add the asterisk. The meta was named after Finka at the time. It's kind of like if you banned the Yinger Glass during the Ying Glass meta. Anyway, the operator bans overall have gone through. We also see Monty, Fenrir, and Azami off the board. Solus is in play, and Geo will be playing her in Sonic's first round on the defense. It can obviously be good if Sonic's able to maintain vertical control in the later round, as just to also cover all of our bases for the first 45 seconds. There's a kitchen dining defense, which means that vertical control, somewhat important.
Yeah. Not from the basement, though. And you will be able to at least get a read on if a plant's going down, but Geo won't be able to have anything to say about it. Let's have some impacts, but those aren't exactly going to thwart plants. So Oxygen, they get a foothold over on the library side. A lot of the leading off points from a lot of offenses. This is usually the first part of their conquest. And so far, so good for Oxygen. They've established a good amount of headway on this portion of the map. Sonics haven't really tried to work their way in front of this just yet, just trying to stay true to their nature, try and keep this strategy, especially for the basement setup, going. Not too much to say past that. Oxygen have at least been able to get control of the top of the library, starting to break things down on this top floor hold that the Sonics have going on for this kitchen setup.
Sonics also peeling back pretty early on. I mean, OXG have initially found Geo all the way around Snowmobile Garage. He's now backed off to Big Garage. OXG surrounding this hold at the top floor. Now Yaga starts pushing up the piano hallway. I like this pace from OXG. They also spot Ambi, and he's killed on the cutoff. Really good clear so far. Not only having Yaga push in, make Ambi uncomfortable, they force the rotate, but Adam fights back. Talk about standout players, by the way. Adam obviously had a great debut on Wildcard and on SQ, even when things have been bad. Adam still has plenty of great individual moments throughout this stage so far. Can him and Merc hold down to the top floor? Well, Adam certainly can. Merc not hitting the shots today, unfortunately. Goes down to the 3v3, and Adam finished off by Dream. So it might have been a huge play from the Womai up top, but it's still SQ down in the dumps and down 2v3.
They got the top floor control. She'll be able to suss out any drones or any plant attempts, but the big issue is now for the Sonics is how do they try and stop this plant from happening? I mean, they don't really have any utility to try and get in that, in the path of this. Maybe some potential goo mines that could try and slow things down for a little while, but nothing like a nitro cell or a smoke to try and assist. The Mute Jammer is going to jam things up for that breaching charge for a little
10
bit
seconds.
until it is dispersed. Now, down to the last 10 seconds. Soniqs trying to make some headway back over towards the dining area. It's a trade, though. It's down to Rexon now as he's rotated on over to the bar space. Dream is going to attempt the plant on 0-0 timer. He's thrown himself inside of kitchen. This is going to go down successfully.
Indeed, it will. Rexon spot the player moving up west main. No, Dream cuts him off. OXG with the first round. Characteristically, very slow, but I think one huge thing going OXG's way, a lot of their executes are typically, at least in 5v5s, and the opening picks need to happen on the flood into sight. That time, Sam, was that not one of the most excellent top floor clears we've seen this stage?
It was perfect. It was picturesque for Oxygen as they took control of that. And, I think they did a really good job of being able to use that vertical in such minimal time as well to exploit some of the positioning from Soniqs, make it more difficult for them to try and work their way back into the bomb site area. And although Soniqs able to trade out at least one player on Oxygen as they try and make that entry, nothing really going the way of SQ past that. I love especially that Oxygen kind of retool that round at the tail end as well once they do get it down to that 1vx scenario for Soniqs, right? Instead of going for that plant inside of dining that they were set up for, they knew that player was so far removed. They're like, all right, we're going to adjust things over inside of kitchen, make things a little bit more safer for us. So even in those dying moments, making sure that they do everything to the highest respect, to the highest level of professionalism.
And if Gabe ends up foreshadowing things quite well, and whoever's able to start off strong, not only on the attack, but just specifically in these first 6 rounds, whoever gets the lead to start might end up taking it. OXG, 1 round in, making a compelling argument for what they can offer on their attacking side. I was going to mention this as well. One positive consequence of the Ash ban is Mira a little bit safer. Those Ash charges, a key counter to crack those Mira windows at a distance, and, well, the other counter, Twitch has just found one Black Mirror already.
We've seen Twitch time and time again be a really solid option for the offense. And Gomez, he was so very close. Gio's knee, I think, absorbing that last shock and making it to where Barstock will prevail at least for a little while longer.
Prevail a little longer. Also, no Maverick at the moment, OXG, and obviously, well, attacker repicks done, can't switch to it, so they want to take down that bar stock position or nullify it. They will need to take control of library, or the player there needs to get a bit over-aggressive. No Doc on the board either, so Merc, reading things correctly, will say, I'm not staying here for any longer than I have to. Go back off after 45 seconds, and there are still players on the top floor. Of course, Adam holding the mezzanine will be in a bit more difficult of a position now that that mirror window is opened up. But OXG still have to capitalize off of it, even if Gomez has done great work, making that position a bit more difficult early on.
I love that you touched on Adam earlier as well, because he's definitely been a standout player for me when it comes to the Soniqs, especially on positions like what they have him playing on mezzanine. One of these ISO positions where you really need some solid gunfighting to try and win out some of these key moments. And be playing blue is going to be able to find Gomez as he tries to rotate down through Snowmobile Garage. Be able to find too much just yet, but now Yaga pushing himself forward. This plant going down. We do have Merc around the area. Can he get this kill? He will, but it's actually traded out favorably for the offense.
It's traded out favorably, and Gio's able to find Dream down below, but that's a great read by OXG. They spot the Mira out of position, or there was somebody playing stock before, and as Merc tries to rotate back, or Gio, but somebody out of position in stock, I believe it was the Jaeger, actually. They try to flood in, try to force the issue. They get a man advantage, and Gio with that kill down below might have just saved the round for Soniqs, at least for the moment. Prolonged, maybe, and conclusion going OXG's way, because now they've had to reset. Now they've had to pause. And Newer's going for the 1v1, the lurk up fireplace stairs, as Diaz is trapped inside of library right now. 2 different players looking at his position. Newers will try to alleviate this, try to get Diaz out of dodge, and it might just work. Merc down inside of the site, but I believe it was the stock player, so Gio's still up above. Ambi now rotated down below, but the opportunity escapes Gio. Man advantage still in the favor of OXG. Gio now down on the floor. Ambi flicks as the Nomad drops down the hatch. Beams Gomez as he walks through the door. 1 pump for the... No, not for Newers, unfortunately. Switch to the shotgun. I almost got overwhelmed by the play right there and the potential for how ridiculous it could be. But OXG, they clean it out, as they should, given how that round began.
Yeah, if Ambi sweeps 3 under the rug with Castles loadout, what do you even say about that? Yeah, I'd have blown my top for sure. That'd have been insane. But instead, what we get is a very solid Oxygen round with the ability to adapt inside of the mid round. You know, they come to blows and everything grinds to a halt. We have some solid exchanging of map control, especially downstairs where we see Gomez try and boil things over for that push up towards blue. But Soniqs instead trying to retake that area and then working their way up through fireplace, at least for Geo's sake. For Oxygen, though, keeping things pretty kosher, I'd say, especially for their top floor position where we end up seeing that player inside of Library. Just keep things close to the chest. Doesn't want to try and overswing. Soniqs kind of giving up the goods when it comes down to positioning as well with some of the pre-firing we see go on that top floor. And not only that, but Oxygen also more than capable of finding some of those, you know, moments where Soniqs are peeling back to the site, getting those big kills to really open things up for them. So a great display of calculative nature out of Oxygen, just not really overplaying things, not willing to try and, you know, bet it all in those initial moments of the round, instead leaning into what was available to them later on and finding some good success in that.
I think you also can't undervalue how losing that mirror window for Adam will cost them, not able to get as aggressive on the mezzanine position. Big find for OXG early on. They could find something similar here. Maybe it'll make things good. I mean, Merc running the Evil Eyes, for example. They're able to take a couple of those down on the wine side and then open up the breach, of course, later on. You could easily find yourself going for a wine execute or a plant through the red wall, the trench wall, whatever your call out is for that specific location. Actually, I thought it was a basement defense. What am I? Am I okay tonight? What is going on? It is late.
It's late for you. It's only 8 p.m. here. It's prime time, baby.
I'm sitting there and I'm trying to pre-fire a basement defense and it's mashed better than office. Anyway, point still stands though. I mean, if they are able to take out those Evil Eyes early on, sure, it might not come from wine, it might come from solar side. They still could very well get a good execute down, especially if they start with the solar window position.
Now, Oxygen fully built up for this portion of the map. You can see Gomez all the way down in Big Garage. More than likely, they'll try and rotate things over to that balcony that we see played out for the bathroom side quite often. With a minute 40 seconds remaining here for Oxygen, so a lot of opportunity for them to try and look towards other things if they really wanted to, but you can see the positioning definitely kind of telling the tale so far, especially after Newers gets that big pick onto Ambi. Let's take a listen in here for Soniqs and see how they want to try and deal with this Oxygen assault.
Okay, I killed B guys.
I'm in the basement.
In this wall.
One more repel.
Holding bathroom.
Where's this guy in repel big? Give me now.
There's
No,
one in the
repel
basement.
buck and
Repel then solar. Repel then solar. Quick Macedor.
Yeah, one on
There's
side,
two
repel.
solar. One slant, two solar.
I was wall hopping.
But she has breach. Just
Yeah,
gotta watch
they're
bathroom.
gonna try to go through that for plant right
They can
away.
be in bathroom.
Alright.
Okay. Big window
One
one.
on big window.
Adam has bathroom. Pedals in the master wall, probably holding from.
Big, two solar.
I have
Yeah,
this guy's
solar.
push. Hold up.
Yeah, but she's in a good spot here. Just wait.
No Matt
They ha-
ran up.
They
One
hacked
big
the
He's
window,
on
one
big,
cross.
so down. Nice try.
I shot.
Bit unfortunate that right as we tossed that listen in, SQ basically collapsed on the defensive side, but that's the pain of it sometimes. And I think honestly is kind of emblematic of how this game has gone overall. It has just looked very strong for OXG. We see the start right there. Newer's able to repel in the solar window. Sam, he gets a kill on the guy bathroom. They're able to, they stall out a little bit, but they're still able to push the Maestro back, get the kill there as well. And then at that point, site's actually pretty free.
Yeah, I think, you know, you kind of really just have to give a shout out to Oxygen's ability to suss out the positioning of Soniqs or just kind of know it off base as to what they're going for, right? Because a lot of these moments here for Oxygen, they are getting just some major kills with really no repercussions at the end of the day. We've seen it throughout the rounds that Soniqs have been able to at least get a couple of moments where they're able to equalize or maybe get a kill in the moments where Oxygen do end up brushing up next to them. But for the most part, it's been OXG all day. Most definitely green time and time again every time they take a shot.
Gomez looking strong. Again, that round 2 kills to finish things off. Newer's having a good day. Really, the only person who's not showing at the moment is Yaga. I believe he is the lowest rated player on OXG, but still north of a 1.0 rating, and everyone else has been putting in so much work he doesn't really need to. And the attacks from OXG, some of the best we've seen this stage so far. I mentioned how they can often go in with 5v5s with only 30 seconds or 20 seconds left. Here, they're getting advantages. They're converting them in good time. They're executing decently early before the end of the round. Everything is looking quite nice for OXG on this attacking half. As Soniqs start repeating sites, we see the kitchen dining come out, some of the old favorites on Chalet. How are Oxygen going to react? We saw a library over last time to try to acquire that control. Well, they just spotted one playing over by West Main. Maybe we'll try to isolate him as Merc now goes down to the basement.
Soniqs going to let the dogs off the chain. That's our initial look, and at least leans towards. Usually you see Merc try to be one of the more aggressive players on his rosters. On history, definitely one of the best in North America when it comes to that notation. He's going to continue on this journey, the blue stairs. Oxygen so far, so very good throughout these 3 rounds. Now making it 4 with the active one we have in front of us. And a little similar to what we'd seen previously. This is going to be a kitchen defense for Sonic after all. So Oxygen going to focus on this top floor. And they've got a lot of breathing room, especially when it comes to their utility that they have at their disposal. The biggest issue is going to be they don't really have any dislodgement for Ambi, minus some Bs and maybe a well-placed grenade, but nothing like a Capital Boulder, something along those lines to try and assist. B's in for Newers now to try and suss out this position, but it might be a little bit before we see Oxygen try and deliver.
It might be a bit. I mean, they do have the X-Kairos as well, if they can maybe get it around that doorway, but Gomez thinks he has an opening. Spotted the head of Merc. What a find indeed. But it's a bit over. Never mind. Not overcooked indeed. They've got the proper support. Dream quickly for the trade. Catches Geo reloading. But how has this gone away from him? Geo with the prone barely brings it back. Yaga now the only one left. Geo with a clean double. Ambi for a third for SQ overall. Yaga, nice shot right there. Even better shot onto Geo. He's brought this round back despite his low HP. Rexon in another 1v1, but he's got the vertical control. That's the main thing going his way. He can recover this diffuser. Rexon spotted him, but he's let him cross. Not a whole lot of vertical inside of the dining position or inside of the kitchen position, but that hatch is open. Yaga goes to the much safer dining where there are no vertical holes. And is there any intel? Drone goes out to call out Rexon's position. If he goes for the drop or the rotation down, indeed he will. It is shot. Rexon's got to fall. He's got the intel. He's got the information. Does he have the shots? Does he have the kill? Spots him. Drops down. Yaga, does he fall down the hatch? Was it intentional? Who's to say? He doesn't have flashbangs to knock him off. He'll rotate up West Main instead.
No way.
Rexon taps the defuse, tries to stick it, spots him, and downs him on the reaggress. Incredibly close 1v1 and a beautiful show from Yaga. Richie holds on to get SQ there first.
Rexon has to be sweating bullets on that. You can see kind of the Harry Houdini moment there for him, too, as he's like, where the hell did he go? Is he prone behind the table? I don't know. And finally finds him over inside of West Main. But what a round there for both of these teams, honestly. Oxygen being able to carve things out from the bomb site and eventually being able to find a home for that case. But it was really just the retaliation that we saw out of Yogg at the end of the day. You said it yourself, Yogg not exactly having his number called up all too often given the circumstances of how many talented players surround him on Oxygen now, especially when it comes to the kill department, right? But in that moment right there, Yogg still so gifted when it comes to this game.
And even dropping down the hatch, I mean, obviously, like, very smart play to try to catch Rexon off guard in that, because he knows you're behind the table. He's fired the shots at you. But when he drops down that hatch, I'm like, is it a tense moment? Did he mean to do that? Did he accidentally step a bit too far backwards? But it makes sense. You go for the flank up West Main. Rexon knows you're behind the table. As you said, the Harry Houdini moment. Rexon's left guessing. Yaga gets the reposition, and when his number's called up, it doesn't end up working, but still almost brings a round back. That OXG could have won had he just landed a couple more shots. But I think we also have to put some praise on a Geo, because Gomez and Dream both find a crazy opening, and if that gunfight goes Dream's way instead of Geo's, that could be another chance for OXG to go up 4-0, but it doesn't happen. Geo holds on, Ambi as well getting involved, and SQ, not a comeback just yet. They've at least started it. The potential for one.
Yeah, that Dream moment, man. He was dream chasing, and those dreams became nightmares, like, so very quickly. Just a little bit of a miscalculation when it came to that recoil. And not only that, but a little bit of a miscalculation when it came to the aggression that Geo was going to show. I think he played that out so beautifully right there in this corner. That's a wild thing about Siege. Sometimes it's some areas that you wouldn't exactly think would be as problematic. Merc, no Claymore? No Claymore. And that's a free Newers.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate situation there. Normally, we do see a Claymore in that doorway.
No play on this entire offense, though, and he's also going to get Dream on the double back, because that's just Merc, man. He knows more than likely somebody's going to be on that trench door to try and cut him off when that moment happens.
I will say, even in games where SQ really struggled, even the game yesterday, Merc oftentimes not only good for one, but good for two in certain situations, and in that particular case, you talked about no Claymore on the lineup. I was going to say, sometimes we might see a Claymore over there when you know, the site smashed to rid of an office, and you're gonna be on solo rappel for a long time. But Newers in this case thinks he's okay. Merc proves him that he should have been more careful. Dream on the cutoff, not only dying, but we also lose all of those Bs for the Grim. So if you want to clear this library position, the shield, mezzanine, anywhere, well, if Yaga's hitting stinkers today, maybe it won't matter.
Yeah, had a few bricks today, but that definitely all net. What a shot. Gomez for 3. Oh, well, it's a brick. Low-key, I thought Ambi might stick around a little bit longer there. Might have a nade kill, but Ambi thinks wiser of the situation. He'll back off instead. And so far, this has gone very swimmingly for Soniqs. This is exactly the situation that they want in front of them. They've gotten 2 big kills onto 2 pretty solid members of OXG. The key thing, at least for that initial part, got the Nomad there for DS, but just nothing over on the runouts. Kind of weird for the Solarium position, but I digress. 45 seconds here for Oxygen to try and work their way across this top floor and find a home for this case inside of this site.
Well, Gomez getting aggressive down the stairs. I think reading that OXG, they've stalled out a lot. They've lost a lot of time, lost a lot of control. I think that's...
I think Lynx died, guys. I don't really know what happened there, but the robot that I have on the other end of the mic, not going to work out too well, and it's not going to work too well for our defenders there. Things, rather our offenders there, things do not work out for Oxygen. Soniqs and specifically Merc making a mockery of that entire round very quickly as well. And again, this wasn't something that was miscalculated by Oxygen. They did have some ability to try and cover a few of these run-out routes. They just didn't apply it. DS didn't spawn over there, and they don't really think anything of it when it comes to that Solarium position. And Merc making the most of that as that little cloak and dagger play works out for him so very well. Oxygen going to be able to maintain the lead, at least for now, but Soniqs getting a little bit closer. Lynx, are you with us, brother? Are you with us, brother? Are you here? Hey, he's pretty dead, folks. No audible to be called. So I guess it's just me. We're gonna go off solo dolo for a while. Well, we'll see how it goes, though. But it's gonna be a downstairs defense here for the Soniqs. They brought the Maestro along to play, something we've seen worked in time and time again from a few respective squads, and something that I really like, especially when it comes to sites like this. You need a lot of coverage, and those Evil Eyes, especially now that he has 3 of them, do a pretty bang-up job of that. Oxygen, though, are going to have a few operators that could potentially be pretty problematic for the Soniqs. Not only do they have things for solid execution as well as good control over the fireplace area, but they also have Yaga, which if these logistics bombs come in near the tail end of the round, could completely shut down this Evil Eye play that they have building up for themselves. I'll just see how that works out, but at least initially, Soniqs doing a very good job of clearing up a lot of these drones. Just gonna let it breathe, folks, just for a little bit. Continuing to check on if Lynx is back, and he's not. Also gotta, make sure that I give you guys his ears a little leeway as well. That's gonna be the first minute here for Oxygen. As we'd expect, especially from what we've seen so far for them, it's gonna be pretty well calculated. They don't want to try and do too much in this opening minute. Use this drone play to their fullest advantage and finally hop Newers in. He's got an issue at least boiling up over on the office side, but Soniqs have already peeled that back. You can see they don't exactly want to try and decide this in the opening moments just yet. Either that or they're not too confident in the play out of Ambi at the moment. Maybe waiting for things to reach critical mass, make life a little bit easier for them once it gets under that sub-minute. But now, folks, I think Lynx, are you here, my friend? Can I hear you?
Let's try.
I can hear you. At least you're coming through now. Before you were a robot and pixelated, as Yog will be reduced to pixels as well.
Well, I'll try my best. My internet sometimes, let's just say, I'm gonna have a stern conversation with my landlord because this is not a tenable situation. Either way, Adam's able to cut down Yaga very early on. Opening pick going the way of SQ. Continuing to be the case as Merc follows up with a nice kill onto Gomez. OXG struggling to fight back in this round, though they're down 2 players, so made it a 3v3. Might just be able to move in. Because with the breach open, control going their way. DS able to confirm not just one, but both of those picks. Rexen also, now facing a lot of damage. This is what's been very nice about OXG. They've been able to reset in these late moments and find a way through. Even if last round didn't go their way, might be able to have a way through here, but with the Vulcan pack detonating on the main stairs, now it's looking a little more difficult because the main stairs push is cut off from the rest of the attack. The defense has time to regroup, to consolidate either in blue, any position they want to stop this push. Dream is still on the main breach with the diffuser as well. OXG have to end this round somewhere in Snowmobile. A rotation is not an option, and there's one more Vulcan. The vertical goes SQ's way, or sorry, goes OXG's way, but how are they gonna end this? How are they gonna get these final picks, let alone get this diffuser down? Gio's able to rotate up, but Diaz cuts him off. Ambi has to stop this. He only gets one, and he's cut off by Newers on the second. Stalled completely on the breach in the main stairs, yet somehow OXG find a way through.
It gets down to the finite details, little intimate values of both of these teams. And Ambi, just on a split-second decision there, not only does he get the down, but the retaliation, he chooses to swing back towards that player on main stairs and immediately meets his demise. These rounds, especially that last one, coming down to the wire, all because of solid utility choices. The defense, I love those Goyo canisters that we saw placed, is those things constantly being a thorn in the side of OXG as they had to try and fight through those to try and get a plant down at a moment's notice, and somehow, some way still prevailing, even though that plant wasn't accessible.
And now this is a time for SQ to redeem themselves from what happened yesterday. We saw one of the poorest attacks really in the entire stage from Soniqs, a team that was decent on attack before that. But as the desk talked about, Chalet, much less complicated than Nighthaven. Full clears aren't as much a priority. You play outside a little more often. So if Soniqs maybe struggled with coordination on Nighthaven, on Chalet, when you just have to coordinate on a much smaller map, on much fewer positions, if they can just start off with a couple rounds here, they're going to be looking in a much better position they did yesterday and will go a long way to repairing the reputation that was dealt to their attacking reputation with that 0-6 start in their attacking side against Beast Coast.
Yeah, 100%. Something a little difficult to work back from, but something they'll definitely be chomping at the bit to try and erase from history. It starts here on this chalet. I'm sure a few of our Soniqs fans at home really hoping that round 7 goes the way of SQ. Get off on the right foot, you know what I mean? Maybe, just maybe, a few convincing moments inside of these opening timings as well. Oxygen, you know, though, I'm going to keep things true, at least for the time. Newers, though, finally going to be the one that kicks us off. And I say finally, although it's happening inside of the opening minute. Ambi gets gunned down on the Solarium side take from SQ.
Definitely a rough start.
Oh,
OXG so successful right now. They just don't have anybody on this bathroom position, or at least anybody to deal with it. Obviously, Ambi likely playing their falls to Newers. I mean, it's a difficult spot when you're assigned to basically guard Newers, one of the most talented fraggers in all of North America. As Ambi falls, Merc then fodder for the MP5. How do SQ find their way back in? I think Gio's got the right read. It's dine and go for the lurk up West Main, but I'm going to be honest, I think OXG are going to be ready for it. They know in the 3v5, SQ likely will try to get aggressive, likely try to find a gap. That's why they not only have the Prox alarm on West Main, but a Malusi close by as well. The Banshee goes off. Does anybody hear it? Might not matter. As by the time Gio goes up, it's been clutched. Well, it's a 4K for Newers. Doesn't matter. Adam alone on the top floor. The round has fallen to pieces for the Soniqs. So what else is he to do? I think Adam's a great player. Does he have a 1v4 in him? He's got at least one. Gomez cut down, spotted on the default. He'll destroy it. Diffuser down below as well. Not many defenders in sight. Sam, I think this might be too tall of a task for our lowly Grim.
Yeah. Maybe a little conversation going on for SQ, but more than likely going to be calling a timeout after this, I would assume. So we'll have to see what they have to say. But, I mean, the biggest thing, you know, especially we want to try and keep it within bounds of this round, right? It's a complete failure to launch for them. Not only do they lose Ambi on some just off in the distance gunfight that we don't really get to see too much out of, right? But they also end up losing their player on the entry for Solarium. And they're already in such a terrible position, especially up against a team that is so powerful, especially in the frag department like Oxygen. It just makes life so unbelievably difficult. Yeah, they're going to get a couple key moments here, but finally the gunfire will come through from Oxygen. And I just got it confirmed, folks, there will be a timeout called by the Soniqs So we'll be hopping into that as soon as humanly possible.
I think good timing for it as well, especially when you lose that first attack. You're now down 5-2. You got to take a timeout, and let's hear what Lauren has to say to try to get things back on the rails.
That you want to make, you can. You guys need to talk about so far, like what you guys struggled attacking. Is it very utility based? Do we need to bring Brava? Do we need to bring more clear? Talk about what we need to actually get into the map, because it felt like the second that we started attacking and we actually got in our spots, we were already down 2 men. So it is okay to slow down.
Let's see what they do. I'm pretty sure they're doing 3 roamers and only 1 or 2 sight. Let's just do a normal clear, and then we'll drone. Count the numbers. If there's only 2 or 1 in sight, just hit the guy in sight, and we'll just literally all send it at him, and we'll leave like 1 lurker. I think that would work. We'll see what we do here. Anyone have anything else?
Play your lives. There are a lot of rounds that we have thrown away because we overpeak. Do not overpeak. Play your lives and play together.
I think specifically, not sure exactly what happened on the gunfight with Ambi in the overpeaking position, but I do have to think that given that they likely knew Newers was in bathroom, I'm assuming Ambi was on the bathroom window because we didn't see anybody there when Merc was rappelling in. And if they had nobody bathroom window, that honestly be such a big oversight that it's almost, it'd be very weird if SQ didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Ambi was bathroom window, loses the fight with Newers, just playing it a bit more safe there, just holding a bit more of a passive angle, force the Wamai to maybe run out on you.
Exactly.
And then we don't have Merc die in that same position, Sam. Then we have a bit of a different situation. So I'm not sure if she was specifically talking about Ambi. Since we didn't see the gunfight, I'm just kind of I'm putting together my own puzzle, trying to figure out what happened, and I think that might have been some of the examples she was talking about.
No, most definitely. And honestly, I think it kind of extends even past that to some of the things that she saw on defense as well. I think Soniqs have just been adopting a few angles and getting punished by Oxygen on these swings. And, you know, we've been constantly talking about Newers inside of this game, but it's so very true, ladies and gents. Newers, when it comes to gunfights, especially when he is the swinger and not the swingy, he is one of the best in the business. And Soniqs are constantly putting him in these power positions where he's able to take control of an entire round. And that's something that they're going to try and mitigate. I think it's a really, really good call by them. I especially like what we heard out of Gio as well, already talking about what he wanted to try and go for on this next round, the things that they should be looking for inside this opening minute and a half. So let's try and calculate this, folks. Let's follow along with Gio's game plan here. He wanted to see what was going on inside of the bomb site and count how many heads they have. That's usually what you look to do when it comes down to this. But so far, not so good, as Ambi once again putting his head where it doesn't belong, and he gets gunned down for it.
And just continuing with what Gio set up, we wanted to see them maybe hit the side of the numbers, you know, we're only 1 or 2 there. And it's true, there are only 1 or 2 actually on the site. But if you notice, there's a player on blue who's already fallen back. There's already somebody kind of close around the dining hatch. That's Diaz. And it's a 4v5. Even if they maybe wanted to go for that quick play, OXG were in close positions to immediately rotate back. And then once Ambi falls, you can't really flood the site unless OXG are slow to react, slow to rotate, or if there's only one guy that you truly can power, overcome, and then get the diffuser down. Now that call can't really happen. Now Soniqs have to go for a bit more of a normal clear. And with OXG playing this very smart and completely falling back, what openings do they have?
None. And that's the point. Oxygen want to remove every piece of value that Soniqs have to offer. Oh my God. Although that M590 might not be as powerful as it once was, that is a insane amount of damage to Merc, and something that, even for Merc, is going to force him onto his back foot. A huge moment there from Dream. He doesn't get the kill, but it's definitely going to be something to consider going into the later portions of this round. The Soniqs really only have control over Fireplace Hall, and they really haven't done too much work with that space either.
That's what we see Gio start to do, though, use that skeleton key. I was just thinking to myself, okay, 4v5, you've got the dining hatch control, you've got fireplace control. You need to see this vertical. It's the only thing that really could swing things in SQ's favor without just relying on getting a couple picks as you push into the site. That could still happen. Dream's been found, but Adam on the backside taking up Merc's position. Shot low by the shotgun, finished off by it as well. Merc recovering from that earlier wound, still on 1 HP. How are SQ gonna go in? And honestly, they're not. If OXG don't give up anything, if they don't give SQ any opportunities, it's in all likelihood this diffuser's not going down. That blue angle still opened up. Merc now cut short. Rexon trying to find his way in, praying that this Thorn gets aggressive. Gomez swings, but no kill goes his way. Gio finds one. Despite sprinting through the smoke, Newers on the quick reaction is able to make this a 4v1. And Gio stuck outside of Wine on 1 HP. This round is not going his way in 10,000 iterations. 6-2 for OXG match point, and it looks like that 5-0 stands strong.
Yeah, this failure to launch once again coming to bear for the Soniqs, as it's very early on into the round. The entire timeout, at least from Goddess's perspective, was talking about how they were going to try and set up, what they should be talking about, and the fact that they should not be trying to look for these opening gunfights that have been punishing them time and time again. Now, I'm not saying that Ambi was looking for a gunfight, but what I am saying is that he was in a position of exploitation, and he got punished for it immediately. And that sets precedent for the remainder of the round. Soniqs never get that back. There is never a moment of value in the remainder of that round for them. They're immediately punished by that. And then they have Merc get practically removed from the round off of one shotgun blast out of blue. And that's practically it. Soniqs have to try and send it in off some half-baked smokes and some aggressive pushes, but Oxygen not only have the aggressive advantage of how talented these players are, but just the amount of players in general.
And at this point, OXG up 6-2. Obviously, not calling it just yet. Soniqs could very well make the comeback, but Desk has talked about they've had an easy record so far. They've had the easiest opponents, Loge, Beast Coast, and then obviously didn't play on the third play day, but then LG, wild card. Now, on their 5th game, 6-2 up against the Soniqs, who have their own issues, but are clearly on paper a very good roster with some solid victories this season. I think we can start to say the hype should be believed about this OXG roster. The defenses have looked good. They've looked intelligent. The attacks obviously look very good as well. Obviously, it's just a best of one. Could just be at, not exactly representative of the overall game plan, Sam, but the 5 best of ones we've seen from OXG, it's another one where I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I have to agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that we just needed a better sample. You know, the sample size was already getting to be pretty bountiful, but now we've got them taking it to a team that has some incredible talent and some, incredible staffing behind it as well. So from top to bottom for Oxygen, a very proud moment, more than likely for them. And I've been loving what we're seeing with this roster. I'm sorry, Fox. I love you to death, but Oxygen, they're looking so darn good with this retooled kit. And, well, at least there, Geo gonna end up taking down Yogg, and hey, a big moment. You bring up Fox A, dude, and stuff just starts to fall apart for Oxygen. It's just like a bad omen or something. I don't know what happened.
I gotta stop talking. I'm like, let's dedicate a moment. 6-2, really good performance from OXG so far. And then the round just completely collapses, just completely falls apart at the seams. Just a classic caster moment, unfortunately, but also a good showing from SQ. Geo finds a gunfight. The rest of SQ do as well. 5v2, Vert established. And this is one of those 2v5s I don't think OXG have a way out of. And right as we decide to praise OXG, it's a good round from SQ on the attacking side, because how do OXG come back from this? They can't go up the stairwells. There's too many players watching these rotations at this point. SQ have time to reset. Sure, Merc goes away. It's not happening. It's not happening. Gomez, okay, hold on, it's a 2v2. DS now downed. Gomez in the 1v2, but he's on 1 HP. This player's on the hatch, knows somebody's going to be stocked. Not necessarily a guarantee, but he can count on it, and Ambi certainly does. 6-3 now. OXG still in the lead, but Soniqs, right as we get to praising Oxygen, tell us they're still in the fight.
Wow. Well, crazy stat coming out of Mr. Calibre Jacoby, our host of the NAL. If OXG win this, Carter, it will be the first time a team has ever in the history of the NAL started a stage 5-0. That is unprecedented.
Has that really never happened before?
We have been doing this for a long damn time, ladies and gents. Let me tell you.
This for 4 years. That's never happened?
Nope. Not once. And we've had some wild teams. Some very talented rosters have crossed the deck of the NAL. And yet, it's going to be Oxygen that have the ability to do this right here, right now. And they have 3 attempts at doing it inside of regulation up against a star-studded Sonics roster.
I mean, the NAL's always been typically pretty competitive amongst that top 4 or 5. OXG able to beat DZ, DZ able to beat Sonic, Sonic's able to beat SSG, almost like rock, paper, scissors, depending on the stage. So, I mean, that doesn't shock me that it's that competitive. I just can't believe that even 5-0 has never happened. That's actually really crazy.
I'd have died on that hill. I've been losing
if somebody asked me one time in the past 4 years, has somebody won 5 games in a row to start the stage, I'd be like, yeah, probably. Maybe not a lot, but it's probably happened at least once. And hey, maybe it doesn't happen here. Sonics, obviously, with the best round we've seen on their attacking side, the only victory they've actually had there so far, and it came in a 5v2. Pretty much every gunfight going their way to start. And what a deployable shield right here, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure this has happened before, but I've not seen the office balcony deployable shield.
And you got to open
Least
your third
my
eye more
experience.
there, my friends. This is a beauty, let me tell you. It makes, at least from the offensive perspective, it makes this situation for Merc just a little murky. You don't exactly know what to go do exactly, if you're going to need some extra help. Just one of those things you don't exactly expect out of the defense, but could definitely be something that is very beneficial to them. So now for the Soniqs, looking to try and make sure that Auction cannot be the first team to cross that 5-0 start at the beginning of an NAL stage.
DS offsite, downstairs in stock, finds not just one but two drones. Also finds himself the first recipient of any damage inside of round 10. There's nobody actually cutting him off. Nobody really stopping him at the moment. So what are we really to do? DS will just play his life. That's the call made. Merc also put to very low HP. DS betting, at least, either on the Soniqs missed drone or just looking to deny some more intel. Look at the bullets going over his head. It seems like he's been spotted, and yeah, he is. Rexon with the follow-up. Beautiful intel clear. DS even laughing about that. Good mentality on OXG, but pretty easy opening pick for the Soniqs.
Well, a lot of top floor control still here. It's SQ. And to try and make sure that they have this at least crossed off. You know, there can be some serious aggression. And oh my God. Wow. I most definitely thought it was going to be Geo hopping out the window, but Yogg gets two instead. And this is what I'm talking about here. We have some of the best players in the world playing in front of us right now, Carter. And this shield, just kind of like an off-putting play like that. Look at how much it has affected the Soniqs. Completely discombobulated them in two huge moments now for Yogg, and he could get a third. They don't know what to do with this deployable.
They're just beyond flustered right now. Newers gets a second for OXG overall, at least in terms of players getting involved. Two-piece for him, and it seems Adam again in a very difficult position in the 1v3. Newers on low HP. Ooh, nice shot onto the Valkyrie. But remember, guys, sights down below. Doesn't even have the diffuser, stuck on the rotate for at least a bit of time. He's got an intel, got a Z-ping, got a little flick. No, not at all. Instead, it's OXG who've got another strong victory in the NAL for the first time in North America League history. A team starts out 5-0, and not only in wins, all of these in regulation as well. But I gotta say, I really did not think that office balcony shield was gonna make Soniqs stumble that hard.
It stumped him. It stumped him terribly. And you know, I think the craziest thing about it is it wasn't something that really gave Merc too big of an issue until Geo gets over in the area. He hops the K9 window and he makes eye contact through the deployable shield with Yogg, and he's like, oh crap, what's gonna happen? Merc swings the angle, immediately dead, and Geo's like, well, I gotta try, right? And he gets gunned down too. The entire round, at least, you know, for the initial portion, decided by Yogg with a deployable shield that you never really see.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe even if we're really trying to read into it, maybe Geo is like trying to bait the swing. Maybe they don't have enough utility to use the shield, so they go for the trade. I'm not entirely sure. I just really did not expect Yogg to not survive there that long, not only get one kill, get two kills, but also for OXG, we gotta say it, this team is real. 5-0, 7-3 against SQ, a really strong win, and maybe the momentum will continue as they are done playing this weekend. But that's to find out next week, and also to find out, as I'm sure the desk is going to be very excited to tell you all, the OXG hype is believable. We'll see you then.
Has officially been made. For the first time since North American Siege had the acronym NAL in front of it, a team has started a stage with 5 consecutive wins and 0 losses. Oxygen Esports, the first team to go 5-0 to start off a stage. We've had plenty of 4-0 starts at certain points. You've had them in the past.
I was wrong.
You were wrong about what?
That they would end right here. It'd be a continued.
You bet against the team that you got famous on.
Listen.
Come on, dude.
I'm glad they're finding success, to be completely honest with you. They blew my expectations out of the water, and it's nice to see them performing the way that they are and still going on this hot streak. that we were questioning because they didn't play the quote-unquote best teams in the league.
Yeah, Oxygen are the real deal. And I think even coming into this, like, we kind of knew from their play that, you know what, this is a very strong team. But, I mean, now taking out the Soniqs, I think we can really confidently say this team is going to be not just one of the favorites to make playoffs, not just one of the favorites to make it to the major, but I'm going to say one of the favorites to go deep into the major. And if anybody from North America is going to win it, I think Oxygen have a really strong shot at being that team.
And as soon as Jesse said that, that just cursed Oxygen's chances into oblivion. Thank you very much. The dream is dead. And the dream is also slowly dying for Soniqs at this point. A 2-3 coming into the day, now 2-4. They're not faring much better than Dark Zero standings-wise. OXG put them in the dirt early and never let up.
I mean, I was really trying to give SQ the benefit of the doubt here that, we're going to put up a little bit of a fight, but OXG was just shutting it down. Newer specifically was, I mean, just watching his POV, it was truly spectacular. I mean, it was a cinema.
Yeah.
A Scorsese meme.
It's tough too because they even banned his Ashe.
Yeah.
They said, you know what?
You
we're
can't
gonna
ban Ops.
We're gonna take Newers out. We're gonna ban Ashe. And Newers, he took that personally.
He literally did it on Ace yesterday.
Yeah,
Like,
well, maybe Soniqs weren't paying close enough attention because I mean, yeah, you're not gonna ban one operator and take out Newers. He's obviously always gonna be performing, and that consistency has been a key reason why Oxygen are now ridiculously 5-0 in the NAL.
The thing you just don't want to have happen from this stage, you don't want this to only be domestic success. We also don't want to act as if Oxygen have just won the whole league outright. There's every chance that they don't finish first or second seed. Maybe someone gets them in the Super Week at some stage, but we can't not just celebrate this kind of accomplishment from Oxygen because, again, it has literally never happened before. Huge dub for OXG today.
I mean, the young blood did it. The young blood did it. They secured the 5-0 that none of the old variations of the rosters could do.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff, and we got the top players as well. I mean, Newers and Gomez were the guys that we highlighted at the start of this game. The two really key entry fraggers coming on through. Gomez being able to kind of work a lot of those windows to make those picks happen. Newers as well, again, getting into the building, finding that entry was massive coming through for the team. Look at those entry stats from today. 3-0 on Gomez, 2-1 on Newers. The fact that they're getting involved in 60% of the opening engagement total for the team, and the fact that they're winning nearly all of them is crazy.
Even though the first two guys, obviously, the stats performance we highlighted from the beginning of this game, we can't not talk about Dream because, oh boy, he was a huge reason why that first half went the way that it did.
Yeah, I mean, Dream, I wanted to highlight two specific rounds, round 1 and 6. First of all, keep an eye on when Dream is planting, right? He's going to drop the hatch into the kitchen and he starts his plants, but as soon as the fight happens, he realizes, you know what? I can change my plant spot. And we kind of see it here. He moves his plant after the one player goes down and he switches up to, in the 2v1, have a better plant position. He's not rushing to get that plant down because he knows he doesn't have to. And then in round number 6, it's similar. He's playing outside of the breach. He doesn't want to be in a position where he's running in and dying. He wants to be very, very cautious of this. He lets his teammates work picks from above. That's Newers. Work picks coming in through some from snow stairs as well. He is, again, not rushing into the breach, making something happen. He's really smart and deliberate with his movements. Only when it's safe does he feel like I can start this plant. And that's why Dream is such a crucial player for this team.
I mean, I just didn't want to touch upon Dream specifically because I have that experience with him. Dream is such a smart player in those moments, and it's something that truly shines for me from him specifically is when he is in those moments, he is making sure everyone is in position to be able to cover him, that he can get the bomb down, and he's relaying that information constantly. If he can't, he can. And I can only imagine how pivotal that is when you're going for those setups, when you're going for those plans, to make sure that everyone is in unison and has a general understanding of, okay, Dream is going for this. Let's cover him. Oh, we can't? All right, let's figure out how we can get him into another position. And he's not just a robotic player or he's just a foot soldier where you just say, go in and plant. Like, Dream is thinking 24/7 as he's going down for those plants, and it's something that truly, me personally, I respect tenfolds of from him.
There were some conversations when Diaz and Gomez joined this team. If it takes a bit to figure out how these guys play and they're not successful right out the gate, probably not the biggest deal in the world. But now it has produced one of the best performances that this league has ever seen. So let's talk to one of those guys who's a new joinee onto OXG. Get Gomez in here to talk about how this one did. Brother, congratulations on the streak and on the victory. Just overall, when you joined this team, would you have been okay if you didn't get a 5-0 to start things off? Or like, how over the moon are you about this right now?
Well, I would have been fine. I mean, I think the regulation games actually don't matter that much. I think as long as you're getting top 6, like, the playoffs is what really matters, so.
Totally fair, dude.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. And, you know, coming through to this stage so far, regardless of how much the games may matter, you've been playing fantastic. Your entries have been so strong so far, and obviously it takes great aim to be a good entry player. Everybody knows that. But what are the other aspects that are helping you perform to this level in terms of other things that you're doing in the server to try to get those opening picks, and as well as other things your teammates are doing to help you enable in this role?
Well, I think the most important thing is like knowing when to be aggressive and knowing when to be passive, because that's like you can't be throwing rounds just because like you want to get a kill or like sometimes the round when it starts it's already over. So you just got to be really good at picking those aggressive points.
I have a big question for you. Obviously, coming from that M80 roster, having that history already with Yaga, what is it like now being on OXG, and like what's just the atmosphere like from a player perspective, then even from a coaching perspective?
I think the vibes on this team are the best vibes I've ever been on. So I think that just translates to our play. The vibes on this team, like the staff, everyone, they're just so cool. They know how to talk to each other, treat each other very well. So that just translates to game day.
Is Redeem still balding?
Well, he is.
That's tough.
All right, hang on. Just circle back. I'll refocus for a second. So you've already guaranteed that you can't lose more games than you've already won. That's just the benefit of having this workout with only eight games that you have to play. But that point about regular season games maybe not mattering as much, there's nothing to suggest you're going to let your foot off the gas just because you've guaranteed yourself a winning regular season, right?
Well, no, I mean, we're in a very good position right now, so we're aiming to get that top 2 to get a bye. So yeah, we're just gotta keep working hard and not get complacent, because a lot of new teams, they start well and they start getting complacent and they start losing, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna keep grinding every day.
Well, history has been made today, dude. Again, congratulations. We will see you for the Super Week come next week. All right, dude? Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
That is exactly what you want to hear. You're ahead by a mile compared to everybody else, 15 points through your first 5 games. You cannot have a losing stage at this point unless you bomb out in playoffs. But they're not going to just take that line down, say, take the free win and go. They're going to keep pushing.
I honestly genuinely love that response. Like, that is a true competitor right there. He doesn't care what place he's in because he knows that regardless if they get first here, sure, you get a bye, like you still have to continue to qualify for that event, and just because you get first here doesn't mean that you're guaranteed that.
And I think maybe some of the things you'd be worried about in a situation like this is like, okay, great, you start off really strong, but then as he said, maybe you let your foot off the gas, or maybe you just like the vibes get worn out, right? If you're always putting 100% in, you start to lose motivation, you start to get tired, you start to burn yourself out a little bit. But if he's saying the vibes are the best they've ever been on any team he's played on, I think that's a great sign that, you know what, they're going to be able to keep this rolling easily. They're not going to burn out. They should be feeling very, very comfortable to continue to get these dubs. So yeah, I'm feeling really good for Oxygen right now.
Especially if a Manchester berth is on the cards, which at this point, like you mentioned, they certainly seem to be NA's favorites right now. I wouldn't mind seeing that trio from XSET to M80 that went to all those lands that convinced us for a while they were actually probably going to take home or at least go to a grand final for a major. I wouldn't mind seeing that happen with a team that seems like it's running on all cylinders like this.
Oh, I mean, they're putting in the work to make that statement and to make that claim that they're going to be there, and I don't really see them letting their foot off the gas here, and I can see them easily qualify. I can see them being in the top 1, 2, no matter what, and then, I mean, I'll just say this right now. I see OXG making Manchester.
Yeah.
I'm saying that right
Me
now.
too.
Sure
I would be very shocked.
At this point, it doesn't seem like an outrageous statement anymore.
100%.
OXG are doing a lot to prove the doubters wrong, and if anything, what can't convince you to be a fan and root for them for the rest of the stage, I guess that was it, unless you're a Soniqs fan, in which case, good luck next time. We will see you guys next week. For us now, we only have one more game left. It's our final reschedule from Playday 1. It's Wildcard and Space Station and one Barn Burner to end the day.
Hey guys, this is Boys from Team M80. You guys are watching Unmuted.
Got us a bleeding shock drone. Hacked a drone, bullseye.
That first one's definitely Mozzie, because he's the only one who hacks drones, so.
Okay, this is from Mozzie, first one.
That's Mozzie, hacking a drone, right? That one's too easy, it's Mozzie. It's Mozzie.
Nah, that's Mossy. First one is Mossy.
This one's a runner! You go no further, bruv.
Maybe Alibi? I know I've heard it, but I'm not sure. Like Clash or something?
That's Clash. That's Clash. I love playing Clash.
Clash. I've had my fair share of Clash.
Clash? No. I thought I had that one.
Safety is never the objective. Coffee and socks. They're the true lifesavers.
What the heck? How do I play this game for a living? I don't think I've ever heard this.
I don't know. I'm just gonna guess on this one. Like Warden, maybe? I've never heard that. Who's ever said that?
Safety is never the objective. Is this maybe like Rook or Doc? These are so hard. What?
I've never heard that voice in my life, but that's good. That's Legion. Was that right? Oh, okay. Thank God.
Is that Legion? His other voice line, like you could tell by the accent, it's like the same accent.
Legion? I never would have got that. I never would have got that. What?
You'll be okay in no time! Run! Now!
I don't think I've ever heard that one in my life. I'm just gonna guess like Rook.
Is it Rook?
Because he says you'll be okay. I'm assuming Doc, because he heals people.
Doc. Yeah? Let's go, let's go. 2 for 4, that's better than Matt. That's way better than Matt.
Oh, is it Doc? I don't remember him sounding that aggressive.
Bullets are better than words. Do you know what an artist and a sniper have in common? Details.
The 5th one has to be Glass. If I'm wrong on this one, I don't know what to say.
That's Glass. That's Glass.
Glass the next one, right? Yeah. 100%.
Glass. That one's easy. Matt and Cold, you got sold. Sorry, bud. I beat you by much. Too easy.